I'm Swanhi Egeli. Hello, I'm Swanhi Egeli, and this is a presentation I worked on with collaboration from Eli Kochen about a mannequin installation made on Nauset in the main building. And this is just a little presentation to go along with it about sustainability, particularly with Gen Z fashion and what Gen Z consumes the most. In a capitalistic society, we tend to think of only the benefits of how we're buying, and it's very rare that you see people know exactly who made this garment or where this garment fabric was from. So this is sort of just taking a list of brands that are very popular within Gen Z teenagers our age and kind of just explaining some of the problems that they've encountered over the years. So our first brand is Nike, which is infamous for not only celebrity rebuttal, but government rebuttal from the countries they work with, which include superhouse sweatshop countries like Bangladesh or Indonesia. In 2018, Nike was sued by two former female employees who accused the company of gender discrimination and sexual harassment. There is also a policy within Nike that if you're a model and you get pregnant, you immediately will be discharged, which has received a lot of backlash as well. Nike has no records of consistent sustainable worker payment for certain company sectors, usually the working, and they use animal products such as leather, wool, and down feather without specifying sources. And that means since there's no evidence of government regulation that they could be emitting tons of carbon into the air, which slowly pollutes the environment and causes distress in the ozone layer. And another quick fact is Carolyn Davidson, who's the original creator of the check mark Nike logo, was refused further retirement pay for making the design, which went from a worth of $2 to $26.5 billion in the past 4 decades. So there's a lot of misogyny within the company, which is probably what they get the critique most for, but there's also sort of this imperialistic behavior they have when talking about the benefits they receive from these overworked countries. And next we have iPhone, and this is currently being recorded on a Mac. And as someone who tries to be a quote unquote sustainable consumer, I'm very aware of everything that Mac and Apple, the company Apple promotes. But the iPhone has received probably the most controversy in the Apple technology area because it's controlled by a company called Foxconn, who develops the phones, who makes the phones, who puts the pieces together. And they do not allow sick or holiday leave in China for these workers. And they can also not sue for damages. And there's no way of changing this because it's signed in, when they're a worker, they have to sign this in a legal document to state over that they're basically handing over their rights to make iPhones and get money. And while there might be a benefit to working and getting paid, as capitalism has taught us over the years, they are only paid the normal hourly rate instead of the required overtime pay for the Chinese law, which violates Amazon's own supplier code of conduct and Apple's own supplier code of conduct. Apple has also been accused and faced lawsuits over consistent child labor uses to get precious minerals. Another example of a big company doing this child labor exploitation to get precious minerals would be Elon Musk and Tesla. But everyone has an iPhone in their pocket, so it's almost like everyone's carrying this memorial of child exploitation, basically, to put it in the nicest way. And then we have LEVIS, and LEVIS as kind of this company that promotes, we've been working since the 50s in order to give out product of these like amazing blue jeans. They've made little progress towards ensuring that the payment of their workers is at a living wage. And they use products such as leather, down feather, wool, and dyes, particularly indigo, without stating their sources, so that they're basically violating environmental conduct. And we also do not know how much of this waste is being handled properly, which contributes greatly to climate change. So next we have Amazon. On Cape Cod, everyone has an Amazon account because we live in an island hook where we don't have access to a Target down the street to get a charger. And I even use Amazon for household things such as living supplies for my gecko, my chickens. But of course, everyone knows the controversy with Amazon being that Jeff Bezos has this huge network and he has enough money to give $500,000 to everyone who works at Amazon and still be a millionaire. And so a lot of people accuse him of being kind of like this eco-fascist, having all this money and then not helping make his company, which is changing how consumers are buying and how consumers are going to store with the money he has. And he faced a lawsuit in 2019 because he wasn't paying his workers at the required minimum wage. Well, he had been paying his workers at the required minimum wage, but that doesn't even sustain basic living, which was like $30,000 a year. And if you're in a family or even working on your own, that's at border poverty line in America. And he only changed this after government involvement, which kind of shows something about his character as a threshold of the company. Also, they were workers at Amazon were reported to be overworked, and they were forced to maintain an item per hour threshold of 400 to 900. And that's a lot of packaging, especially for one person in such a short amount of time. And Amazon consistently contradicts its code of conduct. This isn't the only example, but they've also used child labor and sweatshop work to disdain sponsored products such as the Apple iPhone or Skull Candy headphones. Nestle is one of the products that Amazon will sponsor on their grocery site. And being involved with Amazon, these two companies are almost like the power hold of just how capitalism is making products almost to be unlivable without, but also exploiting at the same time. So you're caught kind of as a consumer, you're caught in between this trap of, well, I want to be sustainable, but I also don't want to be hurting the environment in any way or contributing to the climate change crisis. And just to leave this presentation with just a personal note, I think the way on Cape Cod you can help be sustainable is by supporting small local businesses and trying to support businesses that have sustainable living wages for their workers and have sustainable sources. That might be a little difficult, but on Cape Cod, there are plenty of companies and brands such as Be Exclusive and Cuffees, which will give you those right off the bat. Also, thrifting is a great way to reduce your carbon footprint, but also the main way, as if you're a junior like me and edging on towards the age of 18, is voting, and voting for people who will keep these big company thresholds in check and help improve the lives of the daily worker. Thank you very much.